Hi, in this video you're going to learn how to hire a great virtual assistant. It's a step-by-step tutorial, and what we're going to cover is we're going to learn how to do this in a quick and easy way. It takes about 20 minutes to actually write your job post and get it up there and get proposals coming in from the platform that I'm going to recommend to you. But this tutorial is going to go further than that. It's going to take you all the way through, including how to train and nurture your virtual assistant in a stress-free way. So it's going to be a huge amount of information, and you're not going to have heard any of this stuff before, I'm pretty sure. So fair warning, this is going to be a deep dive, and I'm going to answer first of all a couple of questions for you before we get into the content. So the first thing you want to know is, who is this for? And this is for any small business owners, online or offline. It doesn't matter whether you're an established business or a startup. The key is that you're ambitious and you're action oriented. So who this is not for is small business owners who are out there to kind of use and abuse freelancers. A huge thing for me in interacting with freelancers, and I've hired over the last 3 or 4 years across different outsourcing jobs, probably about 400 different jobs. And it's critical that you actually respect and treat the freelancers well, and you get really good result from them, and they get a good result. So it's also not really for anyone who's not going to take action. This is new, and change requires some effort, but that effort will pay off massively, because the skill of outsourcing is a hugely important skill for you to learn, and that's what this whole kind of video tutorial is really about. In this instance, we're talking about virtual assistants, but essentially a lot of what you're going to learn here is interchangeable for any kind of outsourcing. So we're going to give you some great free bonuses if you stay to the end. You're going to get an 11-page downloadable, highly detailed step-by-step guide, and we're going to be looking at that in a moment. That's where we're going to spend most of our time. Most of this is going to be in this document and in some live interactive situation, so it's going to be of high value to you. The second bonus here we've got is the searchable live schedule of free videos that are specifically for small business owners, and they're specifically in the area of outsourcing. So it's helping small business owners systemize their businesses and scale up and accelerate their growth through what I believe to be, a really untapped methodology, which is outsourcing. Even companies who do use outsourcing only use it, in a fraction of situations where they could use it far more effectively and strategically. So the third bonus then is a rapid-fire sweep of common questions that are being. These are common search questions, and you're going to find that a very useful exercise where I've simply categorized questions into different types of questions, so that you can actually see the kind of questions that people are asking, and there's some actual great insights from that exercise. It's only a short run through, but in that I'm actually going to show you that the majority of questions that are being asked online in search are actually in the what I call bad questions. They're not really strategic in the way that those questions are being asked. So it's suggestive of people asking kind of the wrong question, so heading the wrong direction. So there, as I say, we're going to focus on the bad questions and the good questions. I'm going to at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about all of this stuff around how you can get more resource, who I am, and all of that. I don't want to delay on getting you content, but we're also going to, at the end of this video, talk about how to join the Facebook page and also the Facebook group, so that you can access all of this content. So stay to the end, and you're going to find all of that. We're going to run through that in detail. So for now, we're going to get to it. So I have a simple 3-stage process, and I'm going to go through this with you step by step. So this is for when I'm looking for any outsourcing situation. This is the process that I use. And in this instance, we're looking at virtual assistants, and I use it in that same space as well. So the first step is to prepare the post and put the post up in Upwork.com. And this exercise actually only takes about 20 minutes. Now, I go into a lot of detail in the guide in a moment, but you will see that it's actually a very quick process. So in 20 minutes, you should have a post out there that's out in the virtual assistant world that's actually going to start bringing in proposals in a matter of minutes, actually, typically a matter of minutes. We're also going to look at the interview and hire process, and I've got some really easy methodologies here to make this really fast and and effective. And then we're going to the last activity then is from training and nurturing. So it's all about how to make that an effective when you take on a virtual assistant, or again any outsourcing situation where you actually you use the initial stages to get the relationship right and get the freelancer or virtual assistant delivering and doing all of the work. So we're going to get into that now. We're going to go into the live situation for that. We're going to go into the document. Okay, so here we are, and this is the 11-page guide that you can download. I'm just going to flick through it first of all, so you get a sense of the depth that's in this. I recommend you don't download it yet, and you've watched this video firstly, then download it, and then print it off and mark it up. Just want to talk about the content of it. First of all, we've got the 3 stages, which is the preparation and posting, filtering and the interview, and then the hire and nurture phase. And we've got an appendix here, so you'll see when we get into the posting that I like to keep the detail light in the post and add an attachment where I go into detail. So I've got a sample attachment for you here as well. So we've got exact scripts. I've got some blue notes here just to explain the colors. So the blue text has sample answers that I have to some questions that I pose to myself when I'm preparing any outsourcing post. And I also have, you will see in some places where I've got the exact script that I'm going to post into Upwork. I'm going to show you in a moment. I'm going to actually go into a post and I'm going to show you this live as well. So you're going to see, pretty much over the shoulder on all of this. So the 3 stages, as I say, are prepare and post, filter and interview, and hire and nurture. So the first phase, which is the prepare and post, so this is going to be done on Upwork, but before you do, the preparation is I suggest to you pencil and paper, and this should only take a few minutes. So what you want to do is write down what I call your blue sky vision. And just to quote Stephen Covey of Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, he says start with the end in mind. So really what that means is just to, in really simple plain words, just describe what life looks like for you when a virtual assistant is doing an outstanding job. So I've got an example here just to give you, for me, so in this post, I'm hiring a VA to look after video editing and video production onto my channel. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to shoot content like this and just hand it off into an automated system where I don't have to think about it again. So that means that for me, the value in my business is screen time in front of the camera, producing high quality content that people want and will appreciate and value. So what I don't want to be doing is spending time doing admin, video editing, or any of that stuff. I want to have an admin who would just take that video and ensure that it's delivered onto all of the various channels that we want. The other thing I should say is, with this video content, what I want to do is I want to get as many uses for that video. So shoot once and distribute as many places as possible. So I want an admin or VA who's going to be proactive and bring ideas and suggestions and going to do some research and completely lighten the load for me. So my intention is to find somebody who best fits that description, work with them, nurture them, and train them so that that's what they deliver. So here in my blue sky vision, you will see that it's a very simple statement. I will shoot 3 or more videos per week, and these videos will be processed and uploaded to all outlets without any involvement from me. Now, I mean, that's a really, really simple statement, but that does explain, that is as simple as I can say it, as to what I'm trying to achieve. So when you write down your blue sky vision, everything that you're going to do now in terms of your virtual assistant is going to be connected to that. And that's the vision. So without that, you're going to make all kinds of mistakes if you're not careful. So the key points here, this should be really simplistic and focus on what, not how. So you'll notice I'm not saying how the VA is going to do her job, his or her job. I'm not getting into any of that detail. And you can imagine coming up with a statement like that really shouldn't take you. I've said 5 minutes max. If you're taking any more than 5 minutes, you're just not focused. You're just not clear. And if you're not clear, you can't hire anyone. So you take on a person in a direct hire situation, you're going to have a bad outcome. So the next thing I do is I write down. This is all very simple. I mean, I can't overstress how simple this should be. So if it appears very simplistic, that's good. That's the intention here. So if you just write down a list of what you don't want, and I start with this because I find that it's so much easier in the majority of cases to just start listing off what you don't want. And here I list things like, I don't want to spend time checking stuff is done. I don't want to have to spend any time checking and managing and answering questions. I don't want to be checking quality, checking progress, and I don't want to have to answer the same questions repeatedly. Now, these are notes for me. They're not necessary, but they're going to feed into how I interact and how the clarity that I'm going to bring when I start the process of looking for and hiring somebody. So now that I know what I don't want, I kind of convert that into what I do want. So I want somebody that's motivated, energetic, ambitious, helpful, and resourceful. And somebody who wants to learn, understands that the success in our business means that I spend most of my time on creating the content. That's where the value is, and so I'm not being distracted from that role, because that hurts the whole business and hurts the whole team. So if you think about it, we've all got a finite number of hours. So if I've only got, for example, let's say I've got 6 hours per week to dedicate to videos. When I get in front of the camera, I need to be able to shoot, as close to 6 hours of video that I can. Now, obviously, there's preparation and practicing and all of that, so that's not, you're never going to achieve that. But what I don't want to have to do is take 20 hours to shoot, 10 minutes. I mean, that's not good. So I've got to try and leverage my time. And so all of the people that are around, if that is the core value of the business, all of the people in the team have got to support that and have got to be taking any of the burden from me so that I can do that. So that, for example, includes some research. They've got to hand research to me on a plate so that I can very quickly turn it into my own thoughts and my own words, and all of the posts. So some of it is about the preparation coming into the job, and a lot of it is about the production and completion of the job. So now that we've got that. So this is just you should only take a few minutes to do all of that there. I mean, so you should be able to sit down, and I really recommend that every time you do any of this kind of these thought exercises, you set a clock, set an alarm to go. And I actually would suggest that you set short times rather than long times. So overall, that exercise there really should not take any more than about 5 to 10 minutes. You're going into too much detail if it takes longer. So now that you've got to this, so remember that's pencil and paper. You've just getting clarity there in that first phase. So now what we're trying to do is we're now going to go to Upwork, and we're actually going to post a job. So in fact, before you do that, you would actually type the following items, which are very, very short. So first of all, I want to talk to you about mindset when it comes to posting on Upwork. And you can post in there are many different places to post jobs for VAs and for outsourcing. I happen to love Upwork. I do use some other ones, and I will talk about other outsource services in separate videos. But for this one, I actually do like Upwork. But if you have a preference, or somebody recommends somewhere else, by all means go and use that. You can still follow the same sort of this can be adapted to any platform. Okay, so the approach that I've learned over hundreds of jobs posting outsourced jobs on Upwork is I always try and keep it short. I always keep the tone exciting and energetic, and I focus as much as possible on the applicants and what they can do. So that's more in the nurturing and the interview phase. So the first part in any post that you're going to create is the post title. And this should be very simple and high level. And this is what freelancers or virtual assistants in this case, I'm using those terms interchangeably. Well, a virtual assistant is an example of freelancers. I have all kinds of freelancers that I use on various bases. So here in blue, you can see this is the exact script, and you're going to see this in a job, because I posted a job yesterday, and you're going to see the advantage of seeing all of the applicants. I've got something like 11 applicants who've come forward with proposals already in something like 15 or 16 hours. So you're going to see that. So that's the title there. Very, very simple. So here you should note it should be clear to the freelancers, because this is what they see first. This is like your title of your posting as far as they can see. So it should be crystal clear in this that I'm looking for essentially three things. Firstly, I'm looking for a virtual assistant. Secondly, I'm looking for management skills. Thirdly, I'm looking for social media experience. And fourthly, actually, I'm looking for, it's clear that it's an ongoing basis, and that will be attractive to virtual assistants. So now let's look at the post description. And here you'll find that, again, this is going to be quite short and quite light in detail, and this is deliberate. The reason for this is that I found along the way and across many jobs on Upwork that freelancers won't read long text, and so I don't see any point in putting in long text in that location. And we're going to deal with that in a moment, where you put some detail. So really all I do here as an example script is I will say, hi, I'm looking for a virtual assistant. I actually wouldn't have the name there. This is because I don't know who they are. So I'm looking for a virtual assistant to help deliver 3 high-quality videos on multiple social media channels and other outlets. Before responding, please read the attached document which explains fully. So not the world's best English, but that's it. So we move to the next page. So remember, we've got title and we've got description, and now there's a document. You have the opportunity to attach a document to the post, and I just want to give you the emphasis here. And at the we've got a sample of this attachment in Appendix 1, right at the back of this document. And so my notes here for you is this. It's best to create a document and attach it rather than adding the details in the description, because you can do things like formatting of the text, for example, and here you can go into enough detail, but the key is to focus on what, not how. I can't overemphasize this. The classic mistake that you see in management generally, whether it be in outsourcing or in traditional management positions, is that managers tend to be overly explicit on how. When they're asking somebody to do it, they basically micromanage, or they get into far too much detail. It's just a typical, and you see it. I've noticed in organizations, if the person at the top of the organization does this, it seems to pass all the way down. And it really is a very limiting way of managing, because when you understand this and when you flip it, so whether you're outsourcing or whether you're working with people directly under your management, the best thing to do is always only tell them what you want to achieve, and then ask them how are they going to do it, so that you get their plan from them. So you avoid dictating on the how, because the virtual assistant will have ideas that you haven't thought of, and even if they don't, at least you got the chance, by the time they explain it, you'll be clear that they understand. So if you focus on giving the the VAs a clear understanding of what you're trying to achieve and why you're doing things the way you are, or why, so why is massively important. So that's what you focus on, those two. So like I say, we've got a sample post in the appendix, and I'll just go straight to that, just so you can see that. So here is the sample post. So and you're going to see, so I attached this in the live job that we're going to look at. So it's for a virtual assistant, ongoing basis, manage content and social media. So so this is a question of how can you help right up front. I'm asking them to read the document carefully, and then come back and tell me about the relevant experience they have in managing content to social media, managing and reporting, and where would you be best positioned in the business, why are you a good fit for this project, and how can you contribute to the team objectives. So then I'm giving them a business overview, explaining what I'm trying to do, website, Facebook, YouTube channel, explaining the business model. It's important that you understand this is really more in the why we got those channels. Here I'm explaining, and I'm going to show you this right now, that the long-term business plan is to deliver high-quality free training to a wide audience, serve that audience as best I can with content like this, and a percentage of this audience will scream out for dedicated services that they will be quite willing to pay for, and that might be you. If it's not, that's not a problem. So it's kind of freemium model. So we've got kind of level 0, which is free trainings and materials, and then we'll likely create some products as we go along. So right now I don't know what those products are. That doesn't matter. I know that they will come along in due course once the base audience grows. So the business aims, how this will be good for the VA. So this is a good template for you to follow. So, I'm explaining here the benefits to the virtual assistant. I'm trying to make sure that the virtual assistant comes in and behaves like a team member. Even though right now it'll be a team of maybe 3 or 4 people by I'm the only one who's actually directly paid by the business, if you like. Everyone else is outsourced. So anyway, so there are the benefits. And I'm explaining, the future is good for them. I'm going to have bonuses and reward results and reward effort. So I'm explaining here the video production process that I intend to have. So we've got a video editor who's also a freelancer. So I'm just explaining the just differentiating the who does what. And this is something we did this in the exercise earlier. And this is actually, I find this to be hugely important to do this, is to explain what you want and what you don't want. Sometimes the what you want is more important, and there are other times the what you don't want communicates far more sharply and narrows down much easier. So that's the attachment that I put with the video. So I'm just going to go back here now and just go through this process. So I'm going to show you this now live in an actual post. Just so you can see that process. Okay, so here we are on Upwork, and all I need to do to create a post is to click on the post a job link. So and just to say, if you go to the video schedule, the live content video schedule, you will see I've got some posts that go into much detail on how to create posts and how to hire. So I'm going to just walk you through, because this is quite quick. I'm just going to walk you through the mechanics here anyway. So here I'm going to create a new job post. I could reuse a different post if I wanted. I can select one, but here I have one already. But let me just do this from scratch, because you're likely to be doing this from scratch. So it's a short-term or part-time work. Okay, that's pretty obvious, I think. It's not more than 30 hours a week, and I wouldn't worry, because you can create new jobs in the future anyway. So short term. So enter the name of your job post. So I'm going to just go back to this text here. So this is the post title, and just paste that in there. Okay. So straight away it spotted social media. I don't know if you saw that there, but this changed. Okay. So you get an option here to select a category, and this is quite unusual. The mechanics here of the filtering, but you can filter later anyway. So I don't worry too much if I don't quite get this, but you should be able to find admin support and then select a specialty. So for this job, it is about virtual administrative assistance. And I can just select that, and here it's asking me for social media marketing. Okay, so just select that and click next. So again, so this is the description, and we have here the description. So let me just copy and paste that. So it's good to have this all typed out beforehand. And here you can see now I get to upload an image. So I'm going to go to I store. So here's something so here's where I store all my Upwork job postings, and here I've got the virtual assistant for social media admin, job number 313. So I'm just going to attach that and just put that in there, and you can see that that's now got that attached. So next, so is this a one-time project or is it an ongoing project? I wouldn't worry too much about here, because the most important, let's select ongoing project, but even if you select one-time project, once you hire somebody, you can quickly create a new job that's specific, and that's my intention here actually, is to create a new job. So once I've hired somebody, I'm going to shut this job down, create a new one specifically, and I'll explain in a moment why. Because and actually, sorry, the reason why is quite simply, I'm going to go for a fixed weekly rate rather than an hourly rate, and I don't yet know how many hours and what rate. So when I do, then we'll come back, create a job, I'll invite only that one freelancer, and I'll award the job. So this job is really a temporary job. So that's fine. So select ongoing project, and here I'm looking for virtual assistant. Just ticking whichever of these make are relevant. I don't really need content writing, but I might as well, let's see if we can get some of that Instagram, Pinterest, retargeting. That'd be interesting to see if we get somebody on that. So you can see there's so many items here, in terms of the skills. So next is the who can see your job. I always select only Upwork freelancers. You don't really want somebody on a Google search coming across your job from outside, seeing something about your business. It's better off that you don't see that. Sometimes here I'm going to select one freelancer. There are times when I will select more than one. All that means is that when you hire somebody, Upwork will keep the job open until you say to close it. Okay. So next, you're going to pay by the hour. Right now, I would select this, even though that goes completely against my principles. And the reason why I would say this is because it makes the job of finding the VAs a little bit easier, because they're not going to come back giving you prices. So, but like I said earlier, I'm not going to hire somebody through this particular job. I'm going to create a new one once I've selected. So this job is all about selection. So I'm going to select here intermediate. I almost always select intermediate. And how long do you expect this project to last? Just say more than 6 months. Again, it doesn't really matter. And so less than 30 hours per week, because that's, I don't expect somebody to be working for 30 hours per week on this. I expect somewhere in the region of 8 to 10 hours is what I think. And we will grow that over time. So now we're ready to post this job. I'm not going to post this right now because I've already posted a job that's similar to this, and we're going to get to that in a moment. So let's just go back now to the document and catch up where we were before. So now what we want to do is, now imagine we've posted that job, and we're going to say one more thing we should do when we post that job. If I go to now here I'm going to the job I actually posted yesterday. So if I view the job post, it says that this was posted 12 hours ago. I think it was a bit longer than that actually, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. It was posted. So if I want to invite freelancers, this is the screen that you get once you hit the post, and you get this option on filters, and you'll see from other posts, I usually select things like, minimum of 1,000 earned, 90% and up. In this instance, I do select hourly rate. Usually I don't care if it's a fixed price job. This is a little bit different, the virtual assistant. Most of my jobs, I don't care what the hourly rate is. So I don't worry about people with 60 and 100 euro or dollars an hour. It doesn't stop me from including them. And I'll explain that in separate videos. I look for somebody who's 100 hours billed. In this instance, there's some category here, social media marketing. I definitely want to be able to speak to them, so I want at least conversational English. I don't want to speak much to them either, but it's just if I have to speak, then we can. I don't like agencies to be involved, so I'll just select freelancers, and I'd like some activity within the last 2 months. So you can search locations, but you'll see later I don't care about location. I think it's a red herring of a question. It doesn't matter. It's really skills that matter. So I'm just going to dismiss the filters, and then I can simply, go through pages. Let me just move the camera for a moment. I can just go through pages. You'll see I've already invited these, but this is the kind of page that you get. So here's somebody if I want to see a bit more, I usually actually just invite them. And if I just click on invite to job, usually, there you go. It pops up with a screen. I'm not going to continue inviting because I've plenty of people invited. And so that's the process of inviting. So my rule of thumb is I will go through 5 pages. And there are 10 per page, so I'll usually go through 5 pages. I usually end up discounting 1 or 2 per page, so that kind of gives me an average of about 8 per page, usually in the region therefore of about 40 invitees. And if we go back to the top here, we've got unanswered invites 35, and I've got 14 proposals. So in this instance I did actually get a higher percentage per page. I actually got 49, so pretty much all of them the filtering was actually very good. So that's where we're at on that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move straight into the next phase. So let's go back to the document here. Okay, so we're now into stage 2. So at this point, you have posted the job and proposals have started to come in. So now we're going to take take it forward from there. So here we are. I'm just going to close down that job that we were doing there just to show you the mechanics. So here we have. I'm going to go click on review proposals. So you see the tabs here. So let me just go back out and just to show you from the outside in. So here's some postings that I've got. So the virtual assistant, I'm just going to click on this one, and this is the particular job. So here we can look at the job post if we want. You can see that's a repeat of the description, and here you can see on the screen, you can see here these are messages that are coming in from these guys. So Upwork does a fantastic job of just really bringing all this together for you. So if I want to go back and invite freelancers, I can do that here, but I'm going to click on review proposals. So down here in the proposals, you can see I haven't shortlisted any yet. I have had messages with 12, and actually that's something I should explain to you as well. I highly recommend that you download, you install the Upwork app on your phone, because then you start messaging with freelancers, and that's really a key part of the kind of interview process. It's not like a formal interview. A lot of the time it's just simple questions back and forth, and I'll explain that in a moment. So on this page, I haven't actually these kind of green highlights these are proposals that I haven't actually reviewed. So what I'll do is I'm going to do this right now. I'm just going to go through the process, going through each one. So let me just click on the first one here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shortlist or not. So the idea is that I'm going to quickly go through these 14 proposals that I have, and I'm just going to take a moment on each just to see, am I going to shortlist? It's really a filtering and sieving process. So I'm not trying to make a decision fully about this. It's a quick read of the proposal, and I'll just talk you through that right now. So what we can see is 94% success. So that's pretty good. Hourly rate 56. So he's done a lot of jobs on Upwork. So I can trust the experience and the feedback. So let me just go straight to what he says here. He's read the attachment. Appreciate your approach to build a community. So he's demonstrating there that he's read. So that's good. I like that. He's done content management for 20 Facebook pages and a media agency. 30% increase. So he's building his relevance. So there's no doubt about it. This guy is let me just see. His English is clearly good. So he's done virtual assistant, VA, e-commerce, data assistant. So that's all kind of VA stuff. I'm not going to look at any of these because these are not going to make any sense to me. So he's got not wonderful on Excel. So he's top 20% on Word. He's below average on English basic skills test. But I'm seeing his written English looks okay. So I think he's probably English spelling test. So he's done quite well on that. So that's good. So he's definitely I'm going to shortlist him. Okay, so now you can see that if we go back up here, we've got the shortlisted. So once I go through all of those and shortlist those that I want, I just take each one on its own. I don't try and achieve a target here, even though my objective is to shortlist around 4 or 5 and interact a little bit more in depth with those, and then you invariably find that you end up really discussing. They just kind of naturally whittle themselves down to 1 or 2, and then you make a decision. But when I'm actually reviewing the proposals, I don't try and think of my objectives. So I just take each one, I simplify it, and I just go binary yes or no in terms of and I'm not focused on the hourly rate. I really don't think that's I don't think that's the important thing. So he's read the attached document, multiple social. Thank you for it. So he's light on details here for sure. So let me just have a look at he's 19 jobs, 200 hours. I'm not seeing anything to discount him, but he has a page here. But I'm not too sure. I mean, anybody could have these channels, so I have to be careful. Could show me somebody else's channel. So he has done these jobs, and I'll just look at his quality score, 92%. So I'm probably just going to leave him for the moment, okay? So I haven't rejected him. I could archive him, but I don't tend to bother doing that. I really just choose from the list who I want to focus on, and if I don't get enough, then I might have another pass. So now I'm on the third guy, and he's got 90%, so that's not wonderful. I'm not worried about the hourly rate. So let's just see, what does he say? So he's not really coming across. Something I look for is people who come across into my world and show. It's not about me, it's the fact that they're capable of doing that. That's important. So I'm going to just leave him behind. I'm not going to waste time on that. Here's a bit of detail. So this is good to see. So he's got a 100% success rate. He has earned 22 jobs. So this guy is good. Straight away I can say this guy looks good. So he says, thank you for inviting me. This is a suitable one for me. Right, managing content. I've been managing social media content for multiple clients as a VA, including Facebook, Instagram. This is excellent. This is what I want. He's also familiar with Buffer and Hootsuite. I'm not that familiar with those, but I do know they're about scheduling and managing content, so that's good to see. All-rounder virtual assistant can do everything you will need, right? I don't like all-rounders as it happens, but I understand he's trying to sell himself as broad range of skills. That's understandable. Social media handling, video editing. Okay, I don't want him to do video editing because it's a big belief of mine that you get specialists for every job. And you don't get somebody. If he starts doing video editing, he won't be able to manage his admin role. So I want to keep him managing and get the video editor to do his. This guy, I'm just going to, for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to go shortlist him and I'm going to just move on. So next guy, he's sending me some documents, so that's good. He's got 93% success rate. He's done 300 hours, so he's got a reasonable history here. He's got some documents. Shall I send the portfolio? I'm going to say, hi MD. Yes, please. Right. And I like to keep things friendly because a lot of freelancers are very competent, but not necessarily very confident. So let's look at this applicant here. One job, so no history really here. So this is, but that doesn't mean she's not good, right? So I've gone through the attachment. I'm working on a similar project. Please have a look at that website. So I'm not sure about this. I'm going to just leave it. This is an agency. I'm pretty sure this is an agency. I usually spot them with these kind of logos. Yeah, relevant agency. So I mean, I'm pretty sure I filtered out agencies, but you will still see them coming in. So I'm just going to have a quick read just to see if, thanks for the invitation. Okay, so I'm just going to just step back out of that and I'm just going to archive. So they're gone. So in that instance, I am going to archive, but usually I don't. So virtual assistant, 100% job, 30,000 earned. Right, that's a lot of hours. So this girl looks like she must be good. So she hasn't really explained much. But these are Facebook, one post per day on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Okay, so I'm not impressed, if you like, that she didn't, give me so much detail there. But I am going to shortlist her nonetheless, because I think she's worth looking at again. And I don't want to, in case I might not get back another sweep through all of these. So that's why I'm doing that. So here with John, 100% success, 200 hours, so reasonable history. Okay, he's saying he can't accept the offer, so I don't know why he has wasted time to put an offer in. So we'll just archive him, and we'll just look at one more. So 100% job success, 10k earns, a lot of hours. So this lady is good. She's experienced in social media management. Check out some of my sample works. I will go back and have a look at all of these in due course, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to shortlist this applicant. Okay, so now if I just go to the shortlist, so I've got 4 shortlisted. Now what I will do is I will start interacting with these and getting, so just start whatever questions are natural to arise here. So she hasn't, this lady has not given me much here, so I would look for some more information here from her, and once I'm down to kind of 2 or 3, then I will look to get a Skype call. So just to go back to the document, so what I was describing there is, so this is the filter and interview stage. So you see the filtering is actually quite easy to do. You just systematically go through the applicants and just choose the ones that, within a very short space of time, just shortlist them. So let's say, for example, you got a lot of applicants to a job and you shortlisted, let's say you end up shortlisting 12 or 15, and then you say, okay, so what do I do now? Well, then you would sieve again, and you would just unshortlist those that, you would ruthlessly go through them until you find to take that back down to, no more than about 6. You don't want to be focus on more than about 6. So that whole process means that you will get down to kind of like 4 to 6 applicants who appear to be pretty spot on for what you need, and you will interact with them through simple messaging. And I'm going to talk to you about that right now. So in the filtering, the objective is to find 3 to 6 responses. And as I explained already, you skim those responses and you eliminate any of those who are kind of like in the pick me please, I want a job type of, because you will see a lot of that. You will look for applicants who really make that effort and show interest in what you're doing. It's not about your ego. It's about the fact that they are capable of doing that and capable of helping your business. Otherwise, it's just going to be a waste of time. So you shortlist them. Then you sort the proposals. So if, for example, you come back tomorrow and there's some more proposals, what you should always do is sort them by newest applicants. So this way, if there's a new applicant in here, you can. Sorry about that. I'm in the shortlisted, but if you go back to all proposals, now unfortunately, so there's a new one. I can see if I go. Yeah. So I haven't looked at this lady. Or this one here, but it is an agency, so I'm just going to archive that straight off. So I can see here, for some reason, there's a few that I have not seen. So I will go back through those. But like I say, so just sort by this, and then so you shortlist them, and then go back and work out of your shortlist. That's the best advice I can give you there. So now listen and engage. So this is about getting conversation flowing between, with simple messages. So those messages are really just simple questions, usually enough to get them, to take some action and actually, explain more and understand more. So what I like to do is use simple open questions, a few words, and just curiosity. So be very positive, always show appreciation and thank them, and where you do see something that you like, call it out, because they'll expand on that. They'll be very keen to expand on that. So, for example, here, hi, and I will insert the name here. Your proposal sounds great. You mentioned, I'm just trying to give you a generic kind of simple formula here. So I would love to hear more about that. Or you could ask them, I'm interested in X. how would you go about that? And you're trying to keep it as open and as open as you possibly can, to leave them with 360 degrees of opportunity to answer that in a way that they can answer it. And the result of that is, what you'll find is that you will get some outstanding answers, and you will learn loads from that process. That's one of the biggest things I've gotten from Upwork, is that when I deal with a topic like, say, WordPress, that I'm not an expert on, by having posted some WordPress postings and having interaction, I've learned loads about it. So, which doesn't do any harm, and it's quick, because you're talking to people who really know what they're doing. It's so much faster than trying to learn about, like, say, WordPress. If you try to learn about WordPress, even on YouTube or anywhere, you've got a lot of having to watch through a video. Whereas you get into a conversation with an expert, you get to ask, get the questions you need answered. So, So then at some point I will definitely have a live call, particularly for this kind of post, where I am going to have somebody on an ongoing basis. I'm definitely not going to hire somebody without having a conversation. But I won't jump into that conversation. I'll have done some messaging and some toing and froing first, and then I will look for a live call. And I just want to emphasize something here, that what I've found over the few years that I've been outsourcing across hundreds of jobs, I find that a lot of freelancers simply won't like going on calls. And it really doesn't mean that they're not great freelancers or expert. It just seems to be the way that they are. Some people just do not like going on calls. And usually what I do is, what I have noticed is, and I did kind of discover this somewhere on the way, that some people think that a call is a video call. When you mention Skype, they assume that you're going to want to go on a video, a video call. And what I would usually do is, if I have any sense of that, or I will even just head that off, make it crystal clear, I'm looking for a voice call, and I will do something like this. Hi, whatever his or her name is, I would be great if we could do a call to discuss. If you wouldn't mind, let's do a voice call, as I hate doing those awful video calls. Is that okay? So I'm trying to, so for them, in their world, that's likely, they're going to think, I'm kind of asking them a favor. So that's just a trick that I found to work, and just gets around that problem right off. So another thing to do, this is very, very powerful, is to kind of softly suggest samples or demos or test work. Now, I've had lots of experience of different jobs where I've had at least one freelancer just step up and actually start producing. I mean, not showing me some other work done on a different project, but actually taking the particular job that I'm posting and actually starting the job. And now that's very, might seem very brave on their part, but actually, if I was a freelancer, it would be the one piece of advice I would give to freelancers is to immediately start doing the job, because that's the best way to get picked. Is if you start doing the job, you create all kinds of trust and reciprocity, because if somebody starts doing your job for you and they're doing it well, and it's very hard not to praise them for doing that. And in that process, it's kind of hard for you not to give them the job. So it's a very smart thing to do, and it's wonderful when you get that. So what I'm trying to say here is really that if you're creative in the way that you ask curious questions, sometimes like that, how might that work? And that should be if you can leave the idea to be theirs, not yours. So what you can't do is say, can you produce a sample for me of my job? Well, you can, but it's not got the same value as when it's their idea and they come back and say and show you an exact sample. It really is powerful. So if you can get that, that's great. This is the most important thing, I believe, when it comes to hiring anyone, whether it's a VA or anybody to do an outsourced job. Your job in all of this process is to extract their plan. So it's so much easier, and this is something I've learned, and I apply this whether I'm dealing with direct hires in businesses that I consult with, or whether I'm using outsourcing, is I always try and elicit their plan. Even if I have to build it, if I have to drag it out of them, I will do that. But it's much better to get their plan than even if their plan isn't as wonderful as yours. And of course, you're going to influence that plan.
and you're not going to accept a substandard plan. But if somebody is going to deliver a piece of work, or if you're going to deliver a piece of work for somebody, it is so much better, I'm sure you'll agree, that if you deliver your plan for that job rather than somebody else's plan for that job. Because when you're handed somebody else's plan, you've got to figure it out. So I always learn from this approach as well. This is another benefit, because when I'm listening to people's plans, I'm hearing ideas that I wouldn't have thought of, or I'm hearing about ways that they would go about doing that job, and that's massively powerful. So, and if an applicant is heading in the wrong direction, so they're coming up with let's say a horrible plan, but that they're worth spending some time with, I'll redirect by not making them wrong. So in this example here, I might say something like, "Hi, oh, my apologies. I see I put you on the wrong track when I said, whatever. What I should have said was, so I'm basically trying to just, show that it's my fault, not theirs, and, try and gently and politely nudge them in the right direction." So, just saying here, for more detailed instructions on how to complete a job post, if you go to the video content schedule, you're going to get that. So we're going to look now at the stage 3, which is hire and nurture. So stage 3, at this point, you've been through the review and you've interviews, and you've now chosen who you want to award the job to. So now we're moving into stage 3, which is hire and nurture. So what this is about is hiring that person and taking the relationship forward into the future so that they're going to do an outstanding job for you, which means that they're going to take the burden of activity and tasks away from you so that you can focus on what you need to do. And in your business, there are certain tasks that require you, the business owner, to focus on. And what you want to do is have your team around you, whether they're physically in the same office as you or virtually, same difference. You want them to basically maximize what you do and take all of the burden from you. So I have some general rules that I have applied in general to outsourcing over the years, and across hundreds of jobs. I feel like I've mastered the whole area of outsourcing. I really enjoy doing outsourcing. And one of the key rules I have for myself is I always take responsibility, even in a bad experience, especially in a bad experience. And what that's about is about making sure that in all situations I learn from it, and I ask myself, if something didn't go well, what would I do differently? And it just, because I think if you blame the other person, you don't look for any learning. So I will always try to be polite and respectful, even if I am having a bad experience. And I should say the bad experiences are, because of these rules, I tend to have very, very few bad experiences. They tend to be, 95% of the time I get good results. So the other point I want to make is that freelancers, the third point here, freelancers leave feedback about you. And that's quite important, that you don't want to have bad feedback going against you. So in terms of hiring, here are really important points here. So first of all, I avoid paying per hour as much as possible. Now straight away you might be thinking, hang on a sec, this is a virtual assistant, you're looking at hourly rates and things like that. So I'm going to get to that in a second, but I avoid as much as possible. I will try and get away from paying per hour. So the reason for that is you don't want to be worrying about somebody in some remote part of the world, clocking up hours and not really working hard. That's a terrible waste of energy on your part. I much prefer to pay per work rather than pay per time. So wherever possible, I will try and turn a job into a fixed outcome or fixed effort, and work that way. So here with a virtual assistant, what I will do is I will set a fixed weekly rate with a fixed set of tasks. So that way we might agree 5, 6, 7, 10 hours, whatever the hour and the set of tasks. And what invariably will happen is that the virtual assistant will be encouraged to get the work done efficiently in that time, or will invariably spend some longer time to keep you happy. But it's a much better way for freelancers to work, and it's been my observation that freelancers love to work like this. So it's not about taking advantage or reducing the cost. We can agree in that a reasonable duration that gives some upside for the freelancer. It's not about trying. I don't see outsourcing. The primary objective is not about saving cost, even though that is the case for a lot of people, and that is a consequence of it. But it's about hiring experts in narrow areas to do only what they're good at, and not trying to get hire generalists. So over time, I'll adjust the weekly rate as the work changes. It'll always be fair and allow enough hours, and I'll make sure that the virtual assistant is reporting to me once a week, and that's quite a key point. And I'll make it possible for the VA to increase the rate in time based on success. So in terms of nurturing then, so once we've got the terms set and all of that communicated, then in the ongoing relationship, I will look to, as every interaction, I will look to encourage and praise. I will look to appreciate their efforts, and there's always something to appreciate. It's so easy. Even if somebody does a bad job, you invariably find maybe they put a good effort into it, maybe they did it quickly, etc. You can always find something to appreciate. And a little bit of connection is good. Showing interest, find out about their family, find out about their situation. You don't have to become best friends, but it doesn't do any harm. They're human, you're human, and we do better with human interactions. Very important to keep them informed. Just in those interactions, just tell them what's going on, what's coming up, and anything kind of. Why is very important. Keep explaining, why you're doing certain things, why we're going this way or that way. It helps a lot when people know what you're trying to achieve and why. So at all costs, you've got to resist the temptation to start micromanaging them, because that's a terrible road. But that is a big challenge for most people, to stop doing that. Because there are times when the job that's in front of you is easier to get done by being specific, but you're advancing nothing. So you're better off, even if you had to spend twice as much time in training somebody as you for a particular task. It's still a great investment, because the next time you won't have to do that if you've done it well. So really, you've got to try and keep training and keep developing the people around you, and because they in turn, what you don't know right now is that in 6 months' time, perhaps you could have that virtual assistant hiring other virtual assistants, or developed to be a great team player. And taking on all kinds of work for you. So that's really important. So always leave room to be impressed. So be impressed when they do things, and give credit as much as possible. Okay, so here we are back with the slides, and we outlined the 3-stage process, and we've been through this. So I'm just going to move forward here now. We talked about the preparation and the posting, and you can see how, I know this video is really in depth, and the document that I'm going to show you can download is really in depth. But I hope you can see that it should take no more than about 20 minutes to prepare and get your post onto Upwork, and then the interview and hire process. I mean, you might take that over a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, depends on your time scale. There's no reason why, for example, I posted that VA job yesterday. There's no reason why I couldn't close that out, say, between today and tomorrow. It could be done that quickly if I wanted to be. So the train and nurturing, we spoke about that. That's hugely important in any relationship, whether it's freelancer, virtual assistant, or just people in general. I hope you learned something from that. So I want to move. We're going to get to the bonuses in a few minutes. Just want to reiterate again on the Facebook page. If you like this page, the facebook.com/Ray Henry Training. If you like the page, then click on following and choose see first. And also, if you bookmark that link that I have here, http://bit.ly/video-content-schedule. The capitals are important. That will get you in that schedule. You will see all kinds of videos, and you will see links to YouTube videos, Facebook videos, and also to downloadable documents such as the manual. So let's so we talk about the free bonus. So if you go to that schedule that I mentioned, and if you look for post number 6, you'll see a link to this video and other videos, and you will see a link there to download the document. So we're now going to do, I said earlier, another bonus would be that we would look at Q&A. So I'm going to load here a set of questions. I'm actually just going to show you where I got these questions. So if you go to, this is a wonderful resource. It's called answerthepublic.com. Depends on kind of business you're in, but if you're in anything to do with content, trying to understand, the needs of business, for content or keyword research, this is really good. So I did a search for virtual assistant. This is a strange looking website with this strange chap here, and you just click on get questions, and what this does is it pulls a list of all of the questions that are being asked on Google for the given keyword. So you can see here it comes up with this wonderful diagram, organized, and if I just move the screen video away, you can see this export CSV, and you can see here that I've downloaded this here, and all I've done is I've taken that particular download, and what I did was I went in here and just organized it and categorized it based on very simplistic searches here, or categorization here, which is whether it's bad or good and why. So I'm going to deal with that, and so let's look at why these are bad. So now we're looking at these categories, and the first one we're going to look at is number 1 here. Just to explain, I've organized these categories, if you like, into ascending order. So going from kind of the worst questions all the way through to the best. So I've got 3 bad and three in the that I've categorized as great. And the first one is bad, and I'm just saying agency. So I'm just saying these are agency type questions. And why are these so bad? Well, I think it's a terrible mistake to make to use any kind of middle company or anyone in the middle of the relationship between you and a virtual assistant. It's a bit different later if, for example, you have a virtual assistant or you have people under your control, if you like, or within your team who are hiring other virtual assistants or other freelancers. That's an entirely different matter. But when you bring an external company into the middle of the process, I've not been able to make that work. I've tried it a few times, and I've just come to the conclusion that it's a really bad idea. And it's you could get lucky with it. Of course, you could have that company bring forward somebody to you, but the communication flow just is so difficult. So I think that's a bad idea. The second bad question category is actually quite common. This is a very popular type of question. It's all about what part of the world to hire from. Now it's a very understandable one, but when you understand how to hire freelancers generally, you will soon realize that the where question is really very, very low down in the order, because there's a lot of bad press about quality in different countries and stereotypes, and a lot of that can be somewhat true. You can experience people in certain countries can behave collectively in certain ways, but when it comes to freelancing and using the likes of Upwork, where every freelancer's history is available to you, and the feedback of all of those companies and who have interacted with that freelancer are available to you, the where question becomes quite different. Now, if you have a situation or a workflow where, for example, certain part of work is done during the day within your team, and you want to have somebody working on it while in your nighttime, well, that's quite different. But again, that's not really a where question. That's a time question. So again, on the basis of where, I've no reason. I've hired people from probably most of these areas, and if I haven't, it's just by chance that I haven't, because I really don't see it. Whereas I do understand the stereotype, and I do understand what's driving that question, but it is a bad question. The next bad question is strangely kind of like around cost, and it's all about cheap. The
the whole thing about outsourcing is that it is a highly effective, a very productive activity for you to engage in, whether it's virtual assistant or generally. So to focus on cost or cheap is really missing the, you should really be focusing on the questions that we're going to see in a moment, which are much better questions. But starting with cheap, that's a bad road. Freelancers and virtual assistants are generally on a lower hourly rate because of the parts of the world that they come from where they're actually doing quite well. So naturally it's going to be lower cost anyway. But when you use it productively, it is exceptionally low cost, even if you hire somebody who's, on the face of it, not the cheapest that you could get. So a bad question. So now let's get to the good questions, the great questions. And the first one we have here is, I've classified it as discovery. So what do I mean by that? Well, the questions here suggest to me, each of these questions that we see here suggest to me that the people asking these, they're on the path. They really are looking at it. It's they're asking about how to hire, the cost to hire. That's quite different than it's quite understandable to want to know what the cost is, as opposed to it's heading straight off for cheap. So let's move on to the next category, which is I say it's great because there's implementation. So these questions to me are fairly clear about, they show that there's somebody, in the process of, they've sort of gone beyond discovery. They're actually now into how do I do it? And then it's fairly clear that they're actually, advancing in that respect. And the last category, I've classified it as, it's great because there's implementation, but there's also niching. And this is really, really important, and it's really a fundamental approach that I use in outsourcing generally, is that I do the opposite of what most business will do, which is to hire people and just load them up with loads of different tasks. I find that to be very, very unproductive. I find that it's far more productive to find people who are specialized in a certain area and employ them to do that task only, and don't sort of, load them up with other tasks. So here you're seeing people, for example, somebody's looking for, here on this question, how to hire a virtual assistant for eBay. So clearly this person is looking for, where would I find somebody who would be a VA for eBay? And the answers to these questions, actually, we're going to show in separate videos. It is ridiculously easy to find people for whatever interest you have here. For example, blog, I could find people in seconds for that. Pinterest, again, no problem. There's another person for eBay. So this kind of niching is in the right direction. What I would say is that if you look at search volume, let me just turn back on all of the categories, and we can see search volume, monthly search volume of 890, right? Let me just turn off the great questions, and we just see that. So the bad questions score 550 versus the great questions scoring a mere 340. So you can see the majority of search is in the bad area. So the reason I'm kind of drawing attention to that is that, if you're being influenced by the questions of others, you're more likely to be sent into bad questions than good, which is a pity, really. So now we're going to get back to the bonuses, and we're going to just close up this video and get you access to all of those bonuses. So now let's look at the bonuses. So we talked about 3 bonuses earlier. And we've just seen the first bonus, which is the rapid fire sweep of the questions that are being asked most commonly in search. Good news is we've got that document. If you're interested to have that document to see those questions, you're going to be able to get that in a moment. You'll see it where you can get that with the guide. So now let's look at the searchable live schedule. So I highly recommend you bookmark this link here. http://bit.ly/video-content-schedule. The capitalization is important, and so in this page, in this link, you're going to see all of the posts ongoing, and a lot of the video content, any of the kind of how-to posts are being numbered for ease of reference. You'll see here, for example, you might find that I've got multiple posts on a particular, where I'm following, in terms of a tutorial, following a particular post, because the posting and hiring process are not necessarily, they can span a few days. So sometimes it's necessary for me to split up an actual live kind of job over a few video captures. It might be the easiest way to do that. So if I do that and you find one video that you like and you'd like to see follow up, you can go in and search for the job number. I number all of my jobs. I started numbering jobs once I got into Upwork in earnest. I just found it was necessary to have a nice simple way of just simply storing each of the files and things like that. So let's get back then to the next bonus we said. So that's the searchable live schedule. And now we're going to talk about how you can get this 11-page downloadable guide. Good news is you can get a lot more than the 11-page guide. So how you do that is, and this is all free, if you go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/Ray Henry Training. I'm going to recommend that you like the page and then click on following and choose see first. What that will do is it will prioritize the content in your timeline. The other thing I'm going to suggest very strongly you do is join the Facebook group. And how you do that is you click on the visit group. You can see it here on the screen beneath the big red arrow. So, and again, it's free. And this will take you to this group here called Strategic Outsourcing for Small Business Owners. So in order to get files, you just click on the files link on the left hand side here. When you click on that, it will load this view here, and here you can see those three. We've actually got 3 downloads available for that. So that's the questions and answers we just went through. There's the full document, the 11-page guide, and this here is just the 2-page, the attachment that's within that, just for ease of reference. In order to download them, you simply click on the little 3 dots there, and you can see a download link. So thank you for your time, and I hope we speak soon, and looking forward to interacting with you in the group. So please come on into the group, share your questions, and interact with others, and we'll make that a very beneficial area for all small business owners. So thank you.